photographing superbikes and sidecars at Brands Hatch using the OM1 and the 150-400mm F4.5. So this video is different from the normal natural history videos that I do, in that we're looking at sports photography. A couple of weeks ago I went away to Brands Hatch with 3 friends from the camera club, and we went to photograph the superbikes and the sidecar events there. Didn't have a press pass or anything like that, so all the pictures that you're going to see in this video were all taken from positions where the public stand. I was using the OM1 and using for most of the time the 150-400mm F4.5 lens, but for some pictures I did use the 40-150 when I was in closer. So I'll show you where I think the best positions to photograph are and show you some of the shots we got from that, and hopefully you'll enjoy the video. So now I'm going to show some of the images taken at different vantage points around the circuit at Brands Hatch. So here is a diagram of the circuit layout, and the area on the left hand side of the diagram was primarily the main area we wanted to concentrate on. I suppose the most famous area for photography at Brands Hatch is Druids Corner. Druids is a hairpin bend, and because riders have to lean their bikes over at an acute angle, often as much as 35 degrees, it does produce quite dynamic images. Often the rider's right knee is touching the track. Consequently, they wear pads on the knees to protect them. The problem with Druids Corner and a lot of areas around Brands Hatch is the protective wire fencing, which can, if you don't have a long telephoto lens, make photography very difficult. If you can get the lens hood virtually touching the wire mesh, using a wide open aperture combined with the long lens, the wire mesh will register out of focus. When I last went to Brands in 2016, it was possible to get the lens hood close enough to touch the wire fence. Now they have a second shorter fence about 2 foot in front of the main fence, which makes it quite difficult to get the lens hood close enough. One of the best positions to photograph at Brands is as the bikes are coming into Druids Corner. In this section they have made an opening for photographers to shoot through. If you're 6 foot tall, that's fine, but if you're short like me, these openings are a little bit too high. Next time I go, I'll take my folding aluminium platform to stand on, but even still there is only really room for 2 or at a push 3 photographers. You can shoot at Druids from a platform that is higher up. This is on the roof of a snack bar refreshment stall, and on this platform there is room for a number of spectators and photographers. From this elevated platform you'll be able to shoot over the top of the wire fence, and this will give you a clean, uncluttered viewpoint. You will need a long telephoto lens from this position because you're slightly further away. The disadvantage with this viewpoint is that you're shooting down onto the bikes at a 45-degree angle, and this does not always give as pleasing a viewpoint as if you're photographing at ground level. One advantage of this particular meeting was that they did have a sidecar race. Sidecars always make good pictures, and as they came round Druids Corner I could either photograph them from up on the platform or on the corner lower down as they come into the bend. I set the OM1 to cars, motorcycles in the subject detection menu and mainly use continual autofocus and a small oblong square selection in the focusing points. I did try continual autofocus plus tracking, but I did not find it was any better than using simple continual autofocus. I found that it was not necessary to use continual autofocus and tracking providing I had motorcycles and cars selected in the subject menu. If you do not have a long telephoto, you can still get good shots at Brands from inside a Druids Corner. Simply cross over the bridge and photograph the riders from the right hand side. Here they will be coming out of Druids and accelerating down towards Graham Hill Bend. It's a good position for pan and blur shots. From here the fence is very low, roughly waist height, so there's no distractions or wire mesh to overcome. From this viewpoint the bikes are quite close, so a zoom in the region of 100 to 200mm is fine. I had varying success with my pan and blur shots. Using a high shutter speed gave me plenty of sharp pictures, but I also tried slower shutter speeds to get a feeling of movement. Using a slower shutter speed will ensure the background is blurred more as you pan with the bike. Also, if the shutter speed is slow enough to blur the wheels, it helps to give that feeling of motion. For pan and blur, I experimented with shutter speeds of 200th of a second, 300th of a second and 400th of a second. Although the success rate was quite low at 200th of a second, this shutter speed did give a very nice effect. One of the best places to photograph from is after they've passed the grandstand and they come around Paddock Hill Bend. From this position it's possible to shoot over the top of the wire fence so you get a nice clean shot, although you do need a long telephoto as the bikes are a little bit further away. This position is particularly good early on in the race when the bikes are well grouped together. From this position you can either take group shots, or if your lens is long enough, go in for tighter crops. This position is very good in the morning because you'll have the light directly behind you. Later on in the afternoon the sun will have moved round and the light is not so good from this position. One advantage of photographing at Paddock's Hill Bend is occasionally bikes will come off the track here. You never know when or if it's going to happen. I was lucky enough with this shot to have fast enough reactions, and having the camera set on continuous low meant I got a whole series of pictures as this biker slid off the track into the gravel. Fortunately, this wasn't a serious accident and the biker got up and walked away unharmed. Some of the best pictures I've taken at Brands have been as riders are coming out of the bend at Druids Corner. Here you can get some good shots if you get the lens close enough to the wire mesh. It's really an afternoon position because if you photograph there in the morning you're shooting directly into the sun. From here there's a position further along the bank where you can shoot over the top of the fence, provided you have a folding stool platform to give you that extra few feet of height. These folding stools can be bought from any DIY store and are very useful because it will enable you to photograph over the top of the fence. The final place that I have taken some good shots from is as the riders are coming out of Graham Hill Bend and accelerating into Cooper's Straight. Photographing from the South Bank car park you can get some good pan and blur shots. The problem with Cooper's Straight is that every now and then there are loud hailers and a number of shots will be spoiled as the bike passes behind them. You can see in this picture that although the bike has gone behind the loudspeaker, the focus has remained on the bike, which shows just how good the subject tracking is. If you've never been to Brands Hatch, you may find these areas useful for photography. There are other positions around the circuit that can be productive, but these are the ones that I have found most useful. I hope you enjoyed the video and found it helpful. Please check out some of my other YouTube videos and subscribe to my channel to be notified of future uploads. Thanks for watching.